Hi guys, my name is Danit. I'm originally from Venezuela. I live right now in Israel, and I've been working at Wix for the last 3+ years. I belong to the templates team, and basically our job is to create all the beautiful templates that you can use, and also to create all the expressions from the editor X. So today I'm going to show you how to build the complex grid. And with me is Liron. She's an expert on editor X, and she'll be answering you the answers that you have on the chat in case I'm too busy showing you how to build the complex grid. So that's it. This is me, this is Liron, and let's just start and have fun. So basically, I'm going to show you right now what are we gonna build. 1 second. One second, guys. I'm gonna show you. So this is the expression that I did for the editor X. It has really nice features. And this is basically the section that we're gonna build today. So let's get started. So you're gonna open your editor X. I already have mine open. So let's start. And what we wanna do is add a section if you have to add a new one, or if you already have one or an empty page. Let's just start from here. We're gonna apply a grid. And my grid is, you have in here on the panel grid, you already have built grids, but if you have a grid that you don't have here, you can make it custom. So my grid is made out of 5 rows. So I'm gonna apply it. And I'm gonna start build from here. So one thing I wanna, I'm gonna share with you. I'm gonna try to share as much tips as I can, so you can actually build it easier. So the process that we do in here is basically we start on Sketch or whatever program you're using. It's fine. We in here in Wix, we prefer Sketch. So we start in Sketch and we basically design all our breaking points, because it will make your life so much easier that you have a plan, that you prepare, and you know what you're gonna build instead of just going crazy, which also, of course, you can do, and it will be super nice also. But if you have a plan, then it will be so much less complicated. So what I would recommend is to build up first your breaking points and then go into designing on the editor X. So let's just add a container. Sorry. And I'm sorry, guys, I made a tiny mistake here. Let's just add another section. And in this section, apply again. Let's just, sorry. Let's add a container in here and apply the grid with 5 rows and apply. Let's just change the color of the section to the actual color of our page. And then there we have it. And then let's start. So let's add the title. New faces, okay? And as Gali said before, we have our typography themes. or color themes that we already did and presetted them. So we have all of them saved, which is a really nice thing to do before even started, because this way it's going to save you so much time and so much work instead of just having to add all the colors, all the sizes, everything over and over and again. You already have it saved and you don't have to work again and again on them. So I already have it here. And I know that I can just apply it with a click. So let's set up this to 90% and fix it to the middle. So I know, because I already designed this outside of the editor, which are my font sizes. So when I do text scale, I don't just have to just like go around and invent, just like figure out what they are. I just can play just a little bit because nothing translates 100% from Sketch to the editor. So I know that this is going to be 57 and 200. And I have it done. I'm going to dock it only to the top, and I want it to be on percentage. And I'm going to do in 8%. Okay. And because I just want to add a little bit more space on the bottom, I'm just going to put 1%. And that's it. And I'm going to set gaps between the rows on 10%. And done. Now, we normally set up, when you add a container with grid or a section with a grid, this will be set up with min max 100 pixels. You can adapt it to whatever you want. Let's do it to 50. This means this is a really great tool, min max, because if by mistake you misplace this text or you erase it or whatever, this row right here, it won't disappear. You'll be able to find it all the time because you set it up a minimum of 50 pixels. So let's do a small trial. You see, you have here 50 pixels. It will never disappear. You will always be able to find it. So that's a really nice thing to know. So we already added the title. So let's go to the complicated part. Don't be afraid. I'm gonna add a container and I'm gonna stretch it. What I like to do, right, is to work with a container that will be a different color. That way, I will be able to identify really quick where I'm standing and where I'm working. And then after I finish with my design, I'll just be able to, I'm just gonna change it and it will be great. So I'm gonna apply a grid. And again, since I already designed it, it will be easier for all of you to design it before and just calculate how many columns, how many grids, which is your layout that you want, instead of just trying to figure out and guessing while you are on the editor X. So I'm gonna add an 8 column, and I'm gonna set up also gaps that they're basically margins between my columns. And let's just start. Again, it's complex, but it's not so complex. It's basically puzzle. So you just have to fit stuff and play with them until they fit correctly. It's not complicated at all. You can just play a little bit and you'll see. So let's just set up this on 0.4 and 0.4. Great. So we know that we have text, image, text, image, text, image. So for my image, I want to set it up on VW, and it will be for VW. So this is my space for my image, and this is my space for the text. And again, for VW and for VW. Okay, so I'm gonna change this first, and then I'm gonna come back to this grid, and I'm gonna change it again. You'll see. You'll see. So I'm gonna drag and drop really easily inside this color. So here it's very cool because in the inspector panel, you basically know where you're working with absolutely everything. So when you set 100% width, it's basically for your parent. This title here is the child, and this container in here is the parent. So you know that it's set up to 92. So you see, like, if I do 100, it's 100% of the parent container. So I don't want it to be docked anywhere, right? Let's just change first the properties of my text. And again, because I already designed it in all my breaking points, I know more or less which are the size of my fonts. So this section basically, it's designed for this specific font, because as you know, as designers, every font changes. Every font has a different width, spacing, I don't know, sans serif, serif, slide, whatever, and it's gonna change. So again, it's a matter of playing with the grid, but it's not so complicated. So I'm just gonna change here to Casey Frost. That is basically the name of my new face model. And I'm gonna set it up to the center. So nice thing that we have here is on media, we have our site files. So we don't have to go actually to the media manager. We have here, right here, really easily to access. So I'm just gonna Casey Frost, it's here. Don't worry if things move, this will happen, but things will readjust once you play with it. So don't even be scared out of it. So we're gonna set up this to BW to 4, which is the size of our column. And we wanna give it a minimum because we don't want it to be less than this, because if not, the image will be way too thin, and that's something that we just don't want. So we're gonna give it a 2 pixels. We wanna keep it docked to the top, but with 0, 0, 0 values. So one cool thing that we have here is the grid area. If you have trouble placing any element inside your grid, let's say this is like this, it tells you, it starts from 1, 2, 3, and it ends on 5, but you don't want it to end on 5. So you're gonna do 4, and it automatically will fit it to the grid area that you want it to be. And we're gonna set up this to 0. So because I already gave values to this text, I can just duplicate it. Or what you can also do, not only for text, but for any element that you have, is save it as a design asset, and you will have it here. This can work for galleries, can work for images, can work for videos, can work for layouter, can work for whatever you're using. So it's actually gonna save you a lot of time if you have a lot of elements. So I would actually recommend it to use it. So again, I'm gonna duplicate all of these elements because they're basically not gonna change. It's only a matter of content. And I'm gonna place it on the right side. We just need to change to the right name. I'm just changing it name and last name one by one because I have it on italic and I don't want to, it will be easy this way. So we're gonna change all the names and we're gonna change all the images. Ambertento, it's here, and Brock Rose, it's this guy. So once you set up, you again, just try to go back to the inspector and see if everything is actually all the values are the way you want it to be. So in here, I don't want it to be docked. I don't want it, sorry. This is looking great, but this moved a little bit. So I'm just gonna double check that everything is working exactly the way I want. So I'm gonna change here already the background because I'm not gonna use it anymore and I don't need to identify it as quick as I needed to before. And one great thing also that we have here is the blue breadcrumbs, sorry, which allows you, if I have here multiple layers, one on top of each other, let's say I have the image here and I want to get to the section, these breadcrumbs will let me know where I'm standing or when I can go back, and I can just select here and get an easier click on it. And I'm just gonna adjust grid to a minimum of 50. And that's it. And then I'm gonna also change this. Now you can actually leave it on fraction, but I prefer, this is my preference, to use min max and just set it up to 50. Now things are gonna move a little bit, don't be scared. Also, when you're working on min max, make sure the maximum, especially when you're working on rows, because you have a maximum on your viewport width. But you don't have a maximum actually on viewport height because your website can be as long as you want, but you actually have a limit on the width. So make sure maximum will always be on max content. So we're just going to change that. Again, you can use also fraction, but this will just like stick to the content. This is how I like to see it. Sticks to the content that you have. So because we're treating with fonts, I think this is a great solution. So here I have 100%. Things moved here. So I just want to set it up to 100 and to 100. And then this goes to from 2 to 3. This goes to 3 to 4. Sorry, 4 to 5. And this goes to 6 to 7. Okay. And now again, things are gonna move. You need to check everything. Again, I don't want anything docked. So yeah, now we are already finished. Let's just check again the grid. Now you can see we have this little space in here. Don't freak out about it. It means that because we're treating with viewport width, that something is missing in terms of values here. So all of this plus this plus this plus this plus this, it's not making 100%. So you can just fix it by, this is something that I can just 0.5 and 0.5. That's it, it's fixed. So this is something that you can just play. It sounds difficult, but it's actually fun once you're in here, playing with the grid, playing with the layout, playing with all the elements that you have. So again, let's just go with the second container, and we're gonna do basically the same, but we have 2 names and 2 images in this. So what I like to do, I do like to duplicate because it saves me a lot of time. But when we're treating with layouts and with grid, I don't like to duplicate, especially if it's not going to be exactly the same layout, because for me, it's just easier to start from 0 than to just grab an existing layout and then just make a lot of change out of it. So elements, I do like to duplicate, but grid, if it's not exactly the same grid and the same layout, then I just prefer to start from scratch. So I'm going to apply a grid from 6 columns now, and I'm going to adjust it, yes. And I'm going to add again the gap. And sorry. And again, we have space, text, picture. So again, we want the same as we had in the upper row. So for the VW. and 4VW. And then we're just gonna, again, duplicate, copy paste, or even grab from the design assets, whatever will be easier for you. We're gonna place it. We're gonna place it in here. And we're gonna place it. All the images where they belong. Now we're gonna change the names. So you see, this name is longer. This is why we only have 2 names in here. And then we're gonna change this, Celine Kalman. And we're gonna change to the correct image. No, this was Alexandra, sorry. And Celine. Okay. So we're gonna set up this again to 100% because we want to be on 100% of our parent cell. And then we're gonna check, we want it to be from the second column. First of all, let's undock this. So that's it. It starts on the second and it ends on the third. Perfect. The image, we're gonna dock it only on the top. And let's check. So you see, it wasn't docked to the actual column that I wanted. So let's just change 3 to 4 easily, easy peasy. So now let's change this to 100%. Undock it. 4 to 5, perfect. We see that values here are just as I wanted them to be. And then the next step is just adjust our grid. Again, things are gonna go a little bit crazy here. Don't be afraid of it. Remember to place max content always in max content and min content just, oh, sorry guys. Guys, if you have any question, Liron is here to answer you. I'm here to answer you, so don't be afraid to ask them. Ask questions on the chat, on the forum, all on editorxcommunity.com. Go there and ask any questions you have. You'll be so glad to do it because this is an amazing product and just use it. Okay, so we're back. And again, min max content, and then again, min max content, max content, 50 pixels. Okay, great. So you see, nothing went really crazy, so we're fine. We're ready. We're ready to continue. Okay, so now we're just gonna, again, you have the breadcrumbs. If you don't have a way to get to the lower layer that you're here, also you have the layers panel, or you can just, if you have a open space, you have it here. So we're just gonna adjust grid and set up this to minimum 50. And then again, just because I like to work this way, we're gonna change the background to the correct background. Because as I told you, again, I'm gonna repeat it because this is very important. I like to duplicate stuff, but not the grid if it's gonna change. In this case, the grid actually is not gonna change. So I'm just gonna duplicate it and just stretch it. And then we're just gonna change the content. And then just check that all the dockings, all the values are correct. And then we're just gonna change the image. And again, set up our grid to minimum 50 pixels. Great, we're almost done with this breaking point. So lastly, we're gonna add the button that in this case, it's live text, but of course you can use button. We're gonna do show me more. And this is from, and then we're just gonna give it a little character spacing, center it. And then we wanna dock it to the top with 4%. And then again, look at what happens in here when I do 50 pixels. Boop, it's stuck to this because we are docked to the top to 4%. So it's gonna stick to the lowest point of the element that you have in this row. So now what I wanna do is give it a little bit space. You can do it by doing this, or just by doing, sorry, not in here, in here. On the padding, we're just gonna add a percentage, 4%, and you have kind of like a invisible margin here that you don't have to actually or add more rows or anything else. This is just way easier. So now we already built this. Let's cross fingers. So everything is looking good. So if you see here, with sections, we mostly don't want to give it a minimum height. We just want to set it this up to none. Okay, so if you saw before, we had a huge gap here. Not with that we set it up to none. This fixed the problem. So since I already designed all my breaking points, I know that from desktop to tablet, it's gonna be the same. But from mobile, it's not the same design. So what we basically, like the way Editor X works is with styling cascade down, which means that whatever I do on the desktop, it will affect my other breaking points, but because they're down. But if I change anything on my mobile, then nothing will affect tablet or desktop. So everything goes from desktop down, but any changes that you will make from mobile up or this tablet up, it won't be affect the other breaking points. So since I already know that these two breaking points are, you see, we did this change here. So let's just fix it to 50, 50, and 50. We changed the small problem, not problem that we had. So, okay, great. So now we're ready to go through the mobile. So you see things here change a little bit, but let's just figure out why and what happened. So we don't want this to be minimum 50. Again, we just want to be minimum the elements that we have in this container or in this row or column or whatever you want. So it kind of like sticks to it. So, okay. So there's two ways that we basically can do it. We can add more containers, or we can just change the container that we already have. Whatever it will be easier for you. For me, personally, it's easier just to change the container that I already have and the layout that I already, the grid that I did in here. So I'm just gonna add, again, this should be max, and this should be like let's say 50. So I'm gonna add, because we have, the design that I did here was basically each model with his photo, each model name with the photo, it's in a different row. So instead of being 3 columns, it's gonna be now 2 columns with 3 rows. So I'm just gonna add the 2 rows and change here, 1 second, the content that I have. Just place it in the first 2, and then I'm gonna go back to my grid and I'm gonna start deleting all the columns that I don't actually need. So again, I'm gonna only need 2 columns. Just do this like 1.5 fractions, and I'm also gonna change this to fractions, because it would be easier for me to work this way in this case. So I'm gonna place names in one column and images in the other column. So again, this time I do want to dock it exactly how it is right now. And I'm just gonna set the values to 0. Again, guys, any question that you have, please go to the chat, go to the, you can ask questions on mail, go to hi@editorx.com and contact the team directly. They will answer any questions that you have. So just ask. It would be great to hear your voices and know any questions that you have. So again, let's just say I want to put these, you can do 100%, you can do 60, 70, whatever the case you want, just do enough space. So when you're moving into breaking points, they won't, if you do it like really close, the text box, then you might break this line into 2 lines. And that's something that you probably don't want to do it. In case that's your design, then great. If it's not, then just be aware of it. Again, I just want to, sorry. And then here, and then I'm gonna fix this. So because I already designed it and I already, again, it's really important. It will make your life so much easier if you design in whatever program you're doing, whatever, if it's Illustrator, Sketch, whatever it is, design it first and then come to the Editor X. It will save you a lot of time. So I already know that my text scale is really fluid between the desktop and the tablet, but it was a little bit too small on the mobile. So again, because we have cascade down styling, then it means that I can actually change my text scale on the mobile without being damaging on the other breaking points. So I'm gonna align it to the right, and I'm gonna change this to 17 to 30, because I already play with it. I know what my values are. So you just need to play a little bit with it and you'll find the correct answer for the content that you have. So again, you can just drag here, you can use the panel, whatever you want, whatever will be easier for you. Let's just change again this 70 to 30, align it to right, and then I only want it docked here. And we're gonna do the same changes here. And, oh, sorry. Okay, so now again, once I have everything set up, I'm just gonna go to 30 because we have mobile, everything is and then on. Again, you see that things moved. You just align them, whatever you want to do. And again, you can always play with it. Let's just add this. We don't want gaps horizontally. We want them vertically in this case. And again, this is the viewport that you want to work with. These are for horizontal. This is for more vertical. So most people just watch their websites vertically. So I recommend to work, just click on the mobile and just work in it. And then, yeah, we're finished with this section. Basically, we do the same with the other sections. We're just gonna add 2 rows in this case. We're gonna move our content and readjust our grid. And this is basic, oh, sorry. You can always do Control Z. This basically, you're gonna do the same. You can readjust here, I don't know, 1.2, whatever. And actually we do wanna do. So basically you're gonna do the same in these 2 sections. I know that we had some technical difficulties. We know that some of you weren't able to send your question. We still like to answer them, so join the community and send them to our mail, or directly to hi@editorx.com, and we gladly will answer all of your questions. And that's it, guys. I hope this helped you, this inspired you to start your own website and just have fun with it. So many possibilities, such a great product. And that's it.